Good morning, everybody. I'm excited to see you all. This is Spiritual Discoveries with Angie and friends, and actually, my friend's not here yet, so I'm going to talk to you a little while, and I'm actually kind of glad to have the opportunity because guess what today is? It's opening day of Lily Dale's 2023 season, and I couldn't be more excited. I'm not ignoring you guys. I just have to go on my page here and make sure that everybody's seeing us. So give me a minute. I'm not ignoring you, and then we're going to talk about. I want to talk about Lily Dale's opening. What's going on opening weekend? I want to talk to you about. Are you coming to Lilydale? If you can't make it down, try to make it down. We want to see you. But if you can't make it down, Karen and I will be starting golf cart adventures in Lilydale pretty soon again. So we'll definitely take you on some tours. But today again, it's opening day in Lilydale. Our season goes all the way until Labor Day. And I'm telling you, if you haven't gone on and taken a look at Lily Dale's website, you should definitely take a look because there's so many things going on, so many awesome presentations. I don't think I've ever seen so many workshops going on in Lily Dale in a season, and there's good ones. There really is something for everybody, which I think is awesome. So what I would love, oh, hi, Pam. How are you? Yes. Oh, you're coming to Lilydale a few times. Yay. All right. Awesome. You guys, you guys, I treat you like you're my family. That's what we say to each other. But anyway, come on and say hi to me. All right. And what I want to hear is, are you coming to Lilydale? And where are you from? And what's your favorite thing to do in Lilydale? So let me just describe a day to you. If you haven't ever been there or you don't remember, so you come to Lilydale and you go through the gates, and that's exciting for us because today the Tibetan monks are in Lilydale right now, which is amazing. And they'll be there to do like an opening ceremony. And then actually for in Lilydale, the season is over because the gate goes up. It's always kind of sad when season ends. And when season starts again, it's like the gate goes down, So we all know it's like, yay, everybody's coming and it's thrilling, And so you can come to Lilydale. Like if you're there in the morning, I don't know if it's at 8 or 8:30. There's meditation every day in the Healing Temple. And I have to tell you, if you haven't ever gone to meditation in the Healing Temple, you have to have that experience. The Healing Temple, the energy in there is amazing. I'll talk about, you can go there later in the day for energy healings too. But to sit in that temple and meditate, the way that you'll feel so relaxed and so centered by that energy. I love to just go sit in the Healing Temple, and just be quiet and feel it. But anyway, so that there's meditation. And then every day, and actually I'm going to have Karen correct me on times, but I think it's either 10:30 or 11. They have a healing service in the Healing Temple every day. It's amazing. You sit in the seats, so whether you're getting an energy hands-on healing or not, you're getting one just by being in the Healing Temple. But then what they do is they call you up row by row and you get to go up and get a healing. So what a better thing to do. I always when I came to now I'm there all the time. But when I came to Lilydale before, I always went and got a healing because it balanced me. It made me feel wonderful. The wonderful Barbara Sanson, if you know her, if you don't know her, she's an amazing person. She's an amazing healer too. She's chairing the Healing Temple. Okay. So then, all right. So all day there are things to do. So you get done at the Healing Temple. This is what I always did. And then I would take a nice stroll out to Inspirational Stump, and you're going through the Leland Woods, which by the way is right near my house. So you can stop in and say hi if you want. But you go to those woods. If you haven't ever walked in the Leland Woods, you have to have that experience. I promise you, Karen and I will take you through on the golf cart. Okay, so you'll get to see it if you can't make it down. But that woods, every time I'm in that woods, the trees are so tall. It's like you look up and you feel like you're in a cathedral of trees. It's magnificent. It really, really is. In that woods, did you know it's a virgin woods? Okay, what does that mean? Some of you probably know, but just in case, what that means is they don't cut trees down in that woods ever. Excuse me. They do for safety, if it's a safety thing, or if a tree falls and they have to move it for safety, they do that. But otherwise, they let the tree stay right where it is. And animals can live in it or what have you. So that's amazing. So that's 1 o'clock. Oh, and so okay. So inspirational stump. What do they do there? The mediums get up and give messages to people. They pick people out, and you sit there and you might get picked and get a message from. We have registered mediums there. We have visiting mediums there. We have student mediums. So you know what? If you're a student medium, okay, you actually can come down and practice in Lilydale. You just see the chairperson and ask. So, but that's pretty amazing. And so, okay, so I'm taking you up till 1 to 2 is inspirational stump. And then after that, you can go to there's a service in the auditorium, which is pretty amazing. And the service in the auditorium is it's a service, and there's usually a speaker, so you get to hear an inspirational talk, and then there's a medium giving messages there too. So that's another opportunity to get a message. And also, too, I want to say this as well. There are mediums, all over in Lilydale. I'm sure a lot of you have been there, but you can schedule a reading ahead of time too if you want to get an actual whole reading. At 4 o'clock, there's another message service at Forest Temple. That's another outdoor place. I love going to that one too. I can't wait. Can you tell I'm excited about opening day in Lilydale? So, and then at 5:30, there's another service out at the Stump. And 7 o'clock, there's another healing service. So you have another opportunity to get an energy healing. And honestly, I'm going to encourage you. Karen's going to post in the comments the website for Lilydale. Take a look at the website and take a look at all the different classes. Just amazing, amazing things. And this weekend, again, I'm going to try to find it here. I just want to let you know the Tibetan monks are there, and a lot of people come to see the Tibetan monks. It's pretty amazing, and I can't remember where I put this. Hang on one second. Bear with me. There are different. I'm going to have Karen will put information in the comments for you. She already is. So, but they have a chanting ceremony with music on Saturday evening. They have opening ceremony. They have closing ceremony, which is amazing to see. And the monks make a mandala out of sand when they're in Lilydale as well. So you can come. You have the opportunity to watch them, and they're wonderful people. They devote themselves very, very much to spirituality and to healing and to helping people. And the entire time, like if you sit and you watch the Tibetan monks make the mandala, it's like you're receiving a blessing, because they do their work. Everything they do is filled with so many blessings. So I would encourage that. Definitely. I want to tell you also, oh, here we go. Oh, you wish you could be there for the monks. I will try very hard to get the monks on camera or on something that I can show you guys. I know some people live far away or it doesn't work out to get there. But hi Janet and hi Sandy. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy you're going to get down to the Dale. So actually, you know what, you guys, my guest is here, my friend, because this is Spiritual Discoveries with Angie and Friends, and I'm going to bring on right now. You're going to love, love, love my conversation with my friend John Heppner. Hi, John.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing today?
Doing pretty good. I was running behind schedule with work, but I'm on break and situated in my car. You got a clear picture, good audio.
Yes. And actually this worked out perfect because today is opening day in Lilydale. So Spirit works the way Spirit works, because I got to talk to everybody about opening day in Lilydale, which is quite exciting.
Yeah.
Yes. And then I know you've been to Lilydale. You love it too.
Absolutely, absolutely, and always a nice place to go and get recharged, and uh, just so many different options of what you can do there. You know.
Mhm. Yeah, and there's something too, John, wouldn't you say, about and I think everybody says it. How do you feel when you drive through the gates of Lilydale?
You know, you can feel the energy, and you can connect in with the energy. And what I think is nice is that you can kind of steer what kind of an experience that you want. You know, I mean, maybe somebody wants to walk around in the grounds and maybe visit the healing temple and, have a healing that's possible. There's
Yeah.
all kinds of things that are possible that way. And so I just think it's really good that people can determine what kind of an experience they want. Go outside to the stump for, a message service,
Yeah.
go to one of the gift stores. I think now the coffee shops open again.
Yes. Yes.
Stroll by the lake. There's just tons of things you can do there.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I remember coming before I was there full time, and sometimes I'd come and go to the stump in the healing temple and do everything. And then other times when I really felt like I needed to renew, I'd bring a nice chair and go sit by the lake for the day, which was
Yeah.
wonderful, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, everybody, I have to tell you. So I want to tell you a little bit about John Heppner. I want you to tell you who he is, because he has amazing stories about helping people. He's a spiritualist minister. And so you were ordained in 1996, right?
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about your journey and what drew you to spiritualism? And I know you're a medium as well, so I'd love to talk
Sure.
to you about that too.
Sure. Um, you know, for me, I had come from a background that was pretty dysfunctional. And as a result of that, I had been doing a lot of inner work and inner processing work and that kind of thing, very embarked on a path of prayer and meditation. And as a result of doing all that spiritual work, I began to open up some other doorways. And I needed to have somebody help to explain, what was going on with those doorways. So, around 10 years on my personal growth endeavor, as an anniversary present, somebody directed me to a spiritualist church. It was the first one I ever went to. That was in 1990. So I guess a while ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd
Certainly a
say
while
it was
ago.
a while, yep. I love
Yeah,
when
yeah,
you
yeah.
laugh, by the way. Everybody will love when John laughs. Go ahead.
So 90. So that was a significant time ago.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, I started attending classes, eventually received the calling that I wanted to move on with my ministry. And I just had a lot of wonderful healing experiences as a result of going and moving on that path. And for me, that really opened me up uh, to heal in
Mhm.
so many ways, and it helped me to integrate in so many ways. So uh, I ended up doing a lot of things that most people would have never anticipated. I went on with my ministry studies. I also went on with my educational studies. At that time, I didn't even have an associate's degree, and I continued in school until I got my doctorate. It's been a wonderful path in spiritualism.
For sure. And so, like, I mean, we're all intuitive, right? I mean, I know you agree with that, right?
Mm.
And
Yes.
and I remember, like, when I did that too, and I didn't have the greatest background either, and I actually wanted to connect to spirituality so I could do readings. That was my objective. Uh-oh. John, stay tuned, everybody. John will be right back. I'll keep telling you my journey. Okay, with that is when I started to get into. Oh, here he is. He's back. There we go.
I'm sorry.
That's
That's
okay. That's okay. That's all right. That's it. That was just a second. But anyway, when I we're grateful to have you. So if you disappear once in a while, we'll just have you come right back in.
right.
So anyway, when I started, so I wanted to do readings, and I felt like I'd sort of been playing around with that a little bit. Whoops, is he gone? So anyway, everybody, so I was kind of playing around with that a little bit. And I wound up at Fellowships of the Spirit. You know, when you said you were directed somewhere, I
Right.
was directed to Fellowships and having a reading with Elaine Thomas.
Yeah.
You know, which we know, you know, I know you were close with Elaine like I
Yeah.
was. Yeah,
Yes.
we miss her.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, so she directed me and said, you know, I have a school, and I'm like, what? There's a school for this stuff, and I can learn, and so I did that. You know, went to, and still involved in it. But what I noticed too that surprised me, and I went for readings. But you're right, when you connect to your spirituality, it heals you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that integration, I tell this story when I was in school, in high school. I remember them coming through and saying, "Well, your sister's terribly smart. Your brother took a 2 by 4 to get through school. He's not very smart. Which one are you?" And we don't think that we should invest money in college on you. You'll never make the long haul there. We don't think that you have the right stuff. We don't see that happening. We don't see that working. And I don't really resent that. They were spot on. My mind was so upset with all the things that had happened in my world, in my life, and getting a chance to heal settled everything. That
Yes.
doctorate would not have been possible if I hadn't had the integration that I had as a result of being involved in spiritualism, getting myself centered, moving forward. And I'm a firm believer that, I've been to a lot of different schools and places, but the biggest thing that pushes you forward is that mystical path. How much prayer, meditation, processing things that you're doing, those are the things that really help you to move forward in your spirituality. And it's that line that they say, all those things will be added onto you. I got so many more blessings as a result of working on myself, living a mystical life, praying, meditating, contemplating, purifying, and always reaching, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And you were able to then, like you said, you healed, and
Hmm.
it's like leave that old stuff behind, right? Or learn
Yeah.
from it. Or it's
Yeah.
funny when you said that, I can connect to that because I can remember every when I went to school, everybody said your sister is so smart and you have a good smile. You're lucky you
Yeah.
have a good smile.
Ouch.
That's kind of what I heard over and over again too. And then lo and behold, I started to connect to my spiritual side. I went back to school as well, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm smart too. I didn't know, but
Yeah.
I mean, I knew, but you know what I'm saying. But
Okay.
yeah, but I love that we're talking about this because I think people think sometimes that to connect to your spirituality so you can do readings or healings, and yeah, absolutely do that, but connect to your spiritual side because it heals you and
Mhm.
helps you open up to what your true path is, right?
That is, I heard a line once, and it says it doesn't matter what your morality is to be a good medium, and in a very real sense that is true, but like attracts like, and if you have the morality of a drunken sailor, you're going to bring in a lot of drunken sailors from the other side. So I really think the more that we can do to put ourselves in a stronger place, the more spiritual our pursuit. You know, I think there's a great adage, and it was on a preamble to the Spiritualist Union from the UK. And it says, spiritualism teaches us, and this is from the 40s, teaches us that we are as much spirit now as what we will ever be. Though inhabiting these tenements of clay for purposes of experience, we assert that whoever embraces these principles, assimilates them, and lives them in their daily life needs no other compass to steer their life. Spiritualism message is about that we have an indwelling, progressing spirit, and we're responsible for its evolution. And so, yeah, it's great that we are given grace, that we can communicate with spirit and do the things that we do. However, that indwelling spirit and its evolution and developing our consciousness and doing those things is so much a part of what the hidden mandate, if you will, of spiritualism is. And I think that that's terribly important.
Me too. And it's I always heard this from Mark and Elaine in fellowships is you do the inner work. And and if you do that, I didn't ever think of it the way you said it, but it's so correct that if you're lined up inside, right, and you're healing inside and living your life that way, what you need, the good things are just going to come to you, or the good lessons,
That's
right?
it. That's
Yeah.
it. It helps you to develop as well. So if your desire is to develop, the stronger your spiritual connection, the more that you're able to present. The better clarity that you have, the more ability that you have to navigate through the spiritual waters, uh, which I often refer to as God's divine river of grace. That we're allowed to stand there and receive the things that we are. The clearer that I am as a person, the clearer that I'm able to work, and that's pretty important stuff.
Absolutely. I'm getting goosebumps when you're saying that. I love that. John, so we have a lot of people on listening, and welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us. We always appreciate it so much. But what are some things that, say, people that are listening and maybe they're not in a spiritual school or whatever right now, what are some things they can do to connect to, that we can all do to connect our spiritual side?
Absolutely. Well, I think one of the first things, and I talk about that when I say that mysticism is so much at the heart of what I believe to be true there. So, um, if you are working on improving yourself and doing the things that you need to do, you're doing your earth work, right? You're
Yeah.
doing what you need to do to clean up the playpen that you're in right now. If you're doing your earth work, that's number one. The ability that you have has to do with how well that you're managing the person that you are. I heard a great interview once. They did this with Shirley MacLaine, and it was Barbara Walters, and she was trying to catch her in a corner. And she said, "Oh, Shirley, give us a cool spiritual experience. Tell us about something really neat." And
Yeah,
and
she did that.
she
I
said, "Tell us
remember.
about yeah, tell us about a past life. Tell us about something cool." And Shirley MacLaine said, I've been at this for a very long time, and when I first entered, I wanted spiritual peace. And I got really off track. I started going to Rolfing workshops, past life stuff, all kinds of stuff that was very difficult and very deep and very dark. And she said, I came to this point after many years of spiritual study of saying, I wanted inner peace first. So if you're seeking that peace and you're seeking that connection with God, truly all of those other things are added onto you. And she said, this is my only gig as Shirley MacLaine, and I want to be the very best Shirley MacLaine that I can be. And
That's
and I think that's so huge. So being authentic, being clear, prayer, we talk to God, meditation, we listen to God and we still our mind. All of those things help you to develop contemplation on spiritual work and spiritual studies. There's so much that you can do prior to the universe and God finding a place for you to study, right? So there's a lot that you can do on your own with your own inner work, getting close to God, stilling your mind and meditating and learning how to walk through those waters. All of those things are terribly important. I had a friend, very long time friend. She has a church that I've served for many, many years. And when her husband passed, he was a very powerful healer and he was a very heavy meditator. And when he passed, he started communicating with people almost immediately. And the thing is, because he had that
well. He'll be back in a second. Everybody, stay tuned. He's got the best stories. I love what he was talking about with Shirley MacLaine. And instead of like sometimes like, and I did this when I started kind of on my spiritual path was, how many classes can I take? And I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to learn so many different things, which was valuable. All of it was valuable. But really, I think John's right that, like what Shirley MacLaine said, I want to be the best Shirley MacLaine I can be, or for me, I want to be the best Angie Apt I can be, and I'm going to kind of hold myself to that standard every single day, right? And if you hold yourself to that, like to me, that's kind of setting an intention. I'm talking about what you were saying about Shirley. I want to be the best Shirley MacLaine or Angie Apt I can be. And
Yes.
yeah, and what did you say? She said, I'm seeking inner peace.
She said, my first thing when I came, my heart was in turmoil and I wanted peace. I wanted to be at peace with myself. I wanted to find God and I wanted to get to comfort. And then along the line, I kind of got on side pursuits and people said, oh, you should do this kind of work. And this is a deep processing work. And she said, at that point in her life, she had a daughter that was getting ready to get off and be married, and their relationship was going to change abruptly. She had a mother that was getting ready to pass. And she said, this is the only opportunity that I have to have these experiences. And this is part of my earth work as well. I mean, we're in a classroom and the object isn't to skip school, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're there to have those experiences.
Whoa, that's
The,
powerful.
the point that I was making before I got myself bumped off again, and God loves, they the gentleman that I knew started communicating almost immediately because he had strong inner work and he knew how to meditate and he knew how to go into the stillness. And the increment of exchange on the next sphere is mental, it's telepathy, right? So the
Yes.
stronger that we build ourselves in this plane, it also helps our own development on the other shore.
Yeah, very much so. I completely agree. I love that we're talking about this, that we all can connect, and it's about how we live our lives. And I love that you said too that you're right. When we're here in a physical body, we're in school. So
Mhm.
like look at each experience as, what am I learning from this? And I think like everybody worries about, what's wrong with me. I should be further ahead, or I should be doing this, or I should be doing that. And if you set your intention a
Yep.
different way, I'm in earth school, if you will, you're learning the whole time, and you cannot be so hard with yourself and just let yourself have those experiences, right?
I think so. And I think allowing yourself a little grace as well. We'd probably be kinder with other people and more patient. I think we're often not patient with ourselves. And, I often say everybody's got their own set of dues that they've worked through, and we don't know what it's like to walk their path. And I
Yeah.
don't want anybody taking over my dues karmically. So I just think that we have to give people the grace and the spirit to be who they are and understand that they've done their level best and that we're doing our level best, right? and
Yeah.
give
Yeah. And
give
if we
yourself a
look at
break.
it, yeah, and if we look at it that way, I always think that's how we can change. Everyone. It's like, how can I change the world or make it a better place? And you can, just by looking at it that way, right? Be
Yeah.
kind to yourself, be kind to others, and we're a good part of the way there, I think.
Yes.
So John, as you're talking about all this, I know that you have a very excellent workshop coming up at Fellowships of the Spirit. And I feel like what we're talking about is a part of what the workshop is about, correct?
Correct. So I wish to have some time with the participants talking about different natures of spiritual unfoldment, consciousness, and connection with God. And wherever people are at in their process, I want to help them to bump up a little bit further. So, and not just necessarily lecture. Um, I'm kind of an interactive guy. So I would say that you would expect that there would be some things on theory, but also some opportunities to have experiences, to share experiences, and to connect with the group. I really want people to have an opportunity to bump up to their next functioning level, whatever that might be. And really kind of meet them where they are on the road. So I'm excited for a chance to get together with a group and for us to explore spirituality and consciousness.
So John's workshop is called Onward and Upward: Expanding Your Consciousness for Spiritual Progression. And really it's July 1st and 2nd, 10 to 5 both days. You can register at fellowshipsspirit.org, always with two S's. But I feel like, what you're talking about, like connecting to your spirituality, or expanding your consciousness for spiritual progression, is going to be what we were talking about. That's what's going to change your life and connect you to that center, right? So you can live your life the way that you want to live, the way you're meant to live your life. Correct?
Really, the very basic gig of why we're here. In the end, we do attempt to help people. We attempt to do all the things that we can. We try to put some of that grace that we're given back into being in service to others. But ultimately, while we're here, growing, evolving, integrating, connecting, and working on our stuff is such a central part. And anything that I can do to help people to move forward in their journey is really where I'd like to be. I really enjoy working with people, interacting with people, connecting with them spiritually, and I just think that this is a great opportunity for us to have some time together to do that. So yeah, I think that is the central work of why we're here. I often say, I mean, I've had an opportunity to work with a lot of different people in different capacities, and I do have interesting stories about
I
that for sure.
know. I know.
Uh,
I want to hear a few of them too.
all right. But in the end, I don't know. The biggest thing that I can do here is to integrate myself and help others to integrate. Isn't that important stuff?
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, that's what we should all do on whatever level we can,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, to help people. So what is this? This is something that you said was path of the eye versus path of the heart. And I,
Correct.
yeah, yeah. Can explain that? Can you explain that?
Sure, sure, sure. Uh, and there actually is a quote. Um, it's one of the most interesting and obscure places where this comes from. So uh, Helena Blavatsky, HPB, from Theosophical fame. Outside of the books that she channeled and she did in that direction, she did a translation of an Indian or a subcontinent holy book that she got her hands on. And a couple people, including Manly Hall, said that he thought that she'd had the best definition or interpretation of that book that he'd seen. And it's called The Voice of the Silence. And in that book,
Yeah.
she has a quote that talks about people's path in the physical body. And she said, but if the path of the heart is too high winged for thee, remain in the path of the eye. And she talks about how in another lifetime you might be able to progress past that. If I think of the path of the heart, I think of Christ. I think of people who have really thrown their heart into their spiritual work, and their evolution into the next plane was based upon them really mastering their emotional stuff and working with others in that very heavy way. The path of the eye traditionally is the path of the magician. It's the path of the mind. And it does not mean that you cannot transcend or grow further as a result of doing that path. It just means that that's the way that you chose to go.
Yeah.
Uh, and so I think it's important for people to kind of understand what their central focus is. Now, I don't believe that there's a purity of one path.
Right.
If you're working spiritually, and if you have a candle and you've lit it for an intentional purpose, right?
Mhm.
You've crossed into that magical path a little bit and you've done some things on the mental plane and
Right.
you know about manipulating energy on the mental plane. And so I think to a certain extent, people do cross into both realms, but I think that that whole business about the path of the heart and really aiming to evolve your heart, evolve your spirit, evolve yourself, and help to evolve others. You know, that onward and upward that I used for the workshop's title was a very, very big rallying cry in early spiritualism.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
everything was about spiritual progression.
Mhm.
Andrew Jackson Davis and that group of people said fundamentally where I started, we figured out that we've had an indwelling spirit, and our job is to help it to progress and to move forward. And I think that that's pretty important stuff.
Very important stuff. Actually, I'm glad you talked about that. I loved, to me, like onward and upward sounded exciting to me. Like I want to take that workshop because I want to do that. But I'm glad you explained what that meant. This sounds to me like a workshop everybody should take. Just because it is so important to expand your consciousness and to connect to your spiritual side and be there and to live your life that way. And I think that takes away like the worries we have about what am I supposed to do and where am I supposed to be going and why am I not further and all that. It's connect within to that part, expand your consciousness and you're going to know. You're going to be led there. The doors will open, right?
The Shirley MacLaine line, she came in because her heart was in a vice. How many people come into our doors in that same way? They come in, their heart's in a vice. I think about that like the healing temple when you started out with your conversation at Lilydale, and somebody comes there for their very first times, never been there before in their life, and they go and they take a seat in the healing chair, right? And somebody comes in and helps to administer some energy to them and helps them to rise up a little bit higher, to see beyond the parameters of the playpen, and a little peace enters into their heart. And we don't know what level of vice is around their heart, do we?
No.
At all. But they come through the door and they initially just want a little bit of that peace and that healing. And then eventually it becomes so much more than that. And along the line, we have an opportunity. I've heard people define grace as being able to commune with angels. And we have that opportunity, don't we? In spiritualism, when we communicate with the other side, we have an opportunity to talk with other beings, and we get to live a very full mystical life, grace filled, by being able to have these experiences. And I just think it's such a cool thing that we have that opportunity, but then also that we have the opportunity to rise up and help our brothers and sisters rise up. Yeah.
100%. That's me is what it's all about. And that takes me to because I know you're a medium as well. And I know I met
Right.
you the first time you were teaching mediumship and fellowships of the spirit, and I loved listening to you. So it got to be like where you were developing your spiritual side, it helped you heal and led you to a lot of things, but also mediumship was part of it too.
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, that's cool. Yeah, it did. And when I talked about coming in, I talk often about, and I'll probably visit a little bit about this as well at the workshop. Stanislav Grof wrote this book and talked about spiritual emergence versus spiritual emergency. When I came to spiritualism, I was in spiritual emergency. I was having a lot of information that was downloading. I didn't have the ability to integrate that. And I needed somebody that could help me to discern what was what, to help me to learn how to discern what was what, and to be able to expand and give myself permission to grow. And boy, I really did get that from spiritualism. And even when people attempt and don't quite make the mark, I like that line from Paul in the Bible where he says, "We see through the glass, but we see through the glass darkly." I know that people
Yeah.
attempt to do their very best, but sometimes they don't quite hit that target. Uh, it's very good that we at least attempt to better understand who we're talking with and to give the permission for ourselves to grow more into that role. So, interestingly enough, I was always very drawn to philosophy, personal growth, and those kind of things. And I would have never anticipated that teaching mediumship and public presentation and mediumship would have been as centered to my ministry as what it is. But over time, I've been called forward a lot of times for that specific task. So,
Mhm.
and I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, I know what you mean. You never know. Like I remember getting on my a spiritual path and I had a plan, like of what I thought I was going to be doing. And I
Yeah,
always tell students when they graduate, have the plan, but stay open to what comes in because I'm doing things I would never thought in a million years I'd be doing. Right.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
you go with it though, and you always have spiritual support. We all do. Everybody, everybody that's listening, we all have that. We can all connect spirit. We all have that support for whatever our ministry is. Like sometimes it's mediumship and the things we're talking about, and really, I think your ministry is just how you live your life day to day.
It
Is a
really
huge.
is. And what we think we're going to start never does turn out the way that we think. I had a friend who's in spirit now, and he went to found a school in Florida, and he was very big on he wanted the perfect school, and he wrote and he wrote and he wrote. He was prolific, and he spent so much time developing curriculum and really getting the school going. And his school had a church that was standing room only on Sunday mornings, and it was
Oh,
just part of the school, he thought, but it was one of the most popular features of that spiritual center. And I was always entertained by that. I said, you came here to help to teach so many people, and you ended up creating a really nice church. It's
yeah.
really nice,
Who knew? Who
and
knew? Yeah.
we don't know,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's awesome. So John, I know you do things now in your work, like in your ministry, where you're helping people as well. And I got to hear some of your awesome stories when I saw you at fellowships. Can you talk a little bit about what you do now and how you make a difference?
Sure. On my day gig, and I'm currently on break from, my day gig is that I manage an education program at a correctional facility in Indiana. We have a lot of people working for our staff. I have four. No, I'm sorry. I downplayed that one. I have 17, counting myself in my department. And in that group, there's teachers that teach vocational paths for people that are incarcerated. And then there's teachers that teach people getting ready for their high school equivalency. So we have opportunities to make a change in people's lives. And it's really kind of the right career juncture at this point in my life as far as the day gig goes, um, because it's an extension of my ministry. I have the chance to interact with people, and I'm realistic. I mean, I know that not everybody there is going to change. Some people have some negative things going on, but we do have opportunities, and occasionally we get a chance to make a real difference. I think the story that I shared with you, and I would share it again.
Okay. I'd love to hear it
And there
again.
was
Yeah.
a guy I used I taught with this guy. I used to teach in the rough part of the prison when I first was working there, prior to taking over the program itself. And when I was teaching that part of the prison, there was a guy that said, "I think I want to go ahead and drop out of school now. Somebody else should have my seat. I had trouble with math in high school, and I can't get past this point. And I just think it would be better if somebody else had that spot." And I said, I'm not going to accept that choice. It's a great idea, but I think you're going to stay in school, and I think I could help you to complete, because he was listening to his friends and they were just giving him algebra problems over and over, and he wasn't studying everything. And I spent time working with him. He hadn't seen his daughter in like 8 years. He was in the roughest part of the prison and just had been just giving up. And I worked with him and worked with him, and then he ended up getting his uh, high school equivalency. He got a chance to visit his daughter for the first time in 8 years,
Oh.
and he was released about a month and a half later. And I've never seen him since, which is the line they always say in the prison: "Nothing personal, but I hope we don't see you again." Um,
Right, right, right.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. But what a beautiful story. And what you're doing is I would think that some of the people that they're incarcerated probably don't have hope, or it's like, what do they have to look forward to? And you kind of go in there and kind of help them look at things a different way and give them back their hope.
And it's a negative environment, so being able to bring some light into a place that's pretty dark, that's not a bad gig, really. So I'm
Yeah.
happy with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome. And probably like as we're talking about, you never know where you're going to end up. That's probably not what you were thinking you were going to be doing 30 years ago, right?
Oh heavens, no! I was I, I say to new staff members when they're coming in to tour the facility, I say, a friend of mine said you're getting older. A lot of people go and teach at the prison before they retire, and I thought, well, that's lovely. And so
Yeah.
off I eventually go for this thing. I'm supposed to meet with somebody, and I took a look at the tower and the wire, and I said, "Oh hell no!" And I drove off. And sane people do that.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
leave. They don't stay for all that. But I was in the interview, and I was talking to this lady that was doing the job that I eventually took, and she was teaching in the roughest part of the prison. She said, there's people there that don't have literacy and they don't have hope. And it's really kind of a dark place. And I go in every day and I do my level best. And I'm sitting there and I started getting a little tapping on my shoulder. And Spirit said to me, "Do you get it? Do you understand why you're here now?
Yeah.
You've been
Yeah.
kind of training and prepping for this in almost every job that you've had as an adult." And it
Funny
was
thing.
true. I was
Mhm.
perfectly suited for being where I was. Yeah.
Mhm. Funny how that happens. I've thought that my life too. It's like as you keep on going, it all comes together, and you're like, I guess I have been training for this for a long time. It's amazing. So
Yeah.
I just want to ask because time goes by quickly when we're doing this, and I really appreciate that you came on today too. I love talking to you. Um,
I enjoyed it.
yeah, so John's workshop is Onward and Upward, Expanding Your Consciousness for Spiritual Progression, July 1st and 2nd, 10 to 5, both days. You can, if you're interested in more information about it, you can go on fellowshipspirit.org. Also, I want to say this, it's in person. I love that we're in person again, everybody. I know you must all feel the same way, but I also like Zoom too. We wouldn't be doing this, or I wouldn't get to interview John today if we weren't for Zoom. So you could take this class also on Zoom. And so John, let me ask you, um, um, so why should people take this class? Take this
I think,
workshop to workshop.
sure. I think it's a good idea to take this class to make a commitment to grow for the next level for you, to take time for you to celebrate with other people, study with other people, have activities and meditations and things with other people, because we're going to do that. And we're going to do ways to help you to bump up to the next functioning level of you. Take time out for you because everything flows from you, doesn't it? And it's the most important thing in the world while you're here to integrate, to heal, and to move forward. If I took all of the spiritual channeling that was done in the 1800s, the early 1900s, people say all the time, people, if I only knew then what I know now that I'm not in the body. While we're here, we have the opportunity to integrate, forgive, and heal. This is
Yeah.
really our best opportunity to evolve while we're here. Everything that we do, I mentioned Blavatsky before. That quote goes on to say, "Nothing remains traceless in this world. Every action that we do, we carry forward with us." Take time for you to grow. Join us for a time to celebrate together, learn together, and to expand together. That's what
Oh,
I.
I love that. Yeah, and doing that in a group and in a workshop is so awesome because you support each other and you get to hear each other's ideas, and you have yeah, and get to hear your knowledge. So it sounds excellent. So thank you, John. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you being on very much. And everybody, I thank you so much for joining us this morning. Remember, this is Lily Dale's opening weekend. Yay, it's pretty exciting. And take a look at Lily Dale's website as well. And take a look at the workshops coming there. There's a ton of workshops coming to fellowships. It's going to be a good summer all the way around. So thank you very much, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.